Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And no James Farley. He's off sick this week. And so it's going to be a quiet one. Just a few of us. And if I'm honest, I'm surprised Sean's even turned up.
Why?
Right, Liz Walker at Adventure Lizard says, where should Midnight Resistance refugees go for topical video games humour now?
Don't.
By now she means in September when we die.
There's nowhere. Don't bother. No. One of the things that I've found recently is I'm a bit tired of the format that we clearly brought to the dance, where people just talk about what games they've been playing and then just chatter.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're going. Like,
it's not
genuinely.
It's not so much.
I mean, do you want me to go on, or should we go on?
I sort of knew this was coming because at the time I was giggling to myself thinking you weren't going to be happy, but yeah, here we are.
I mean, that was the latest episode, because I'm assuming a lot of you haven't heard it. It was the latest episode of Midnight Resistance in which they announced that they came up with the format of talking about what games they've been playing. And said that, I mean, later on in the podcast, they say that banter casts are dead. And
I mean, you said there's a lot of they there. I didn't say either of those things, did I, Dave?
You didn't. No, I noticed you didn't say anything. I did notice that you were squirming around, not defending the fact that was a load of old horse shit and saying, hold on, lads, you're talking bollocks. I mean, you took the coward's way out, I think, is the right way of saying that. I mean, you could, what have you got anything to say for yourself? Have you got...
I mean, obviously, Andy's saying that we invented the format. I assumed that was a joke.
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
I know what you mean. And it is Andy. You might genuinely believe that. With regards to the bantercast being over, I mean, that is patently not true. I think what Chris meant... I mean, this is me... wildly reinterpreting. I mean, it's all right, because Andy won't listen to this, but Chris will, so I'll have to tread carefully now.
I'm surprised Chris listens if bantercasts are dead. Why would he be listening?
That's true. I mean, the reason I didn't take that too seriously, because, he does listen every week, so...
I mean, he's one of our biggest fans, and there he is saying that the format's dead. I don't know where... I don't know who he thinks he is.
I think
he also thinks he's doing.
All the good ones are on YouTube now, so why would anyone do a bantercast?
We are technically also on YouTube, though.
Good point, yeah.
Can we are, actually, that's a good point. Can we get his IP address and just block him? Can we do that?
Prevent him from downloading the show.
Matt, you know how to...
He works in computers, he'll find a way around it.
Matt works on Twitter, so...
Oh, that's true.
I'll find another way around it. Yeah, it was probably the most depressing 7 minutes of a podcast I've heard in recent history. It was so depressing, it made me unfollow literally everyone on Twitter and then reconsider my life choices. I'm not even joking. Literally unfollowed every single person. 922 people said, "This is it. I need to restart my life. If this is what's out there, I can't be doing this every day. It's horrendous." So I was genuinely depressed for about, many hours. It was probably overnight. It was like, what the fucking hell has happened here? Livid.
I mean, if you're going to go down, you might as well go down guns blazing, but, watch who you're firing at.
I assumed what Chris meant. Is that the format in and of itself is quite done, but then we get by because of the chemistry between us and the shouting at each other every episode, and here we are. So
yeah, but you say that. I think the most popular computer games podcast is probably Giant Bomb, right?
Yeah,
that's got to be up there, or Idle Thumbs. Yeah. Both shows talk about what they've been playing.
Yeah,
and then do questions. And I mean, this one, the biggest British gaming podcast, I think it's called, by many people. is also of that format. So, I mean, I'd like to see the figures that back up the claims that this is dead. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Chris. I mean, take your headphones off now.
It was good, right? Because the episode went up, and I know, and you'd mentioned something about listening to it. So I was like, okay, he's listening to it. And then like a day later, I was like, he didn't say anything about.
I didn't, did I, Sean?
Bit. And then another day later, I was like, he's going to mention it on the show.
He is. He's absolutely going to mention it on the show, and you're going to get put in an even more awkward situation.
Is this just because Farley's not here? Is this it? Am I the whipping boy now?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're the whipping boy for this.
Was here.
If Farley was here, I mean, I don't know how I could ignore this the way that you ignored those comments on Midnight Resistance. I don't think I could say. I'm not the sort of guy to just sit by and let things happen, Sean. I like to address things head on. And this is the place to do it. Welcome to the Computer Game Show.
I definitely appreciate the plug. I mean, it's nice to have a plug at the end. Like, by the way, I also listen to a Computer Game Show if you fancy.
Which was couched in David will shout at me if I don't do it.
I've got to mention it because David will shout at me. Well, how's that working out for you, Sean?
Yeah, I think I've fully covered myself there. I think I'm all right.
Definitely not getting shouted at. If you want to listen to that podcast, then go to iTunes and listen to the last half an hour or whatever, and then vomit on your phone and let us know how angry you are by the end of it. I've got a feeling a lot of our listeners will be following no one on Twitter the next day and having a Matt Murray style breakdown
spreading around the nation.
Computer Game Show. Have we had any feedback, Matt?
Yeah, on the subject of Molyneux last week, so Dave played a little excerpt from this IGN podcast where they interviewing Peter Molyneux. It sounded like he was about to say piles of cocaine. Phil Walters at Phil Wall on Twitter, it sounded like Molyneux was about to say piles of crap to me. I mean,
I don't know if I'd buy that.
He wouldn't have censored himself saying piles of crap, surely. I don't think that would have needed.
You can't turn that into a funny podcast bit, so, I mean... that wouldn't have been funny. Go on, next.
That's at least 7 minutes gone. There's also questioned, as I questioned last week from Stu, saying that he can't think of Donkey Kong without thinking of James Farley. We were all in the dark, totally confused. Ricky Prickles gets on board, saying J.C.A. Farley said that when he made his Mii, he was too honest and put his real weight in, so they can't handle like Donkey Kong. Keep up, chaps. I mean,
he did say that, but I can happily think of Donkey Kong and not even think of James Farley. I'm not with you on that one, but okay, whatever floats your boat, that's fine.
Adam Stoke-on-Trent, he insists on the location of Adam in Stoke-on-Trent. A bit of follow-up here, bear with me. First, I'm inclined to agree with James that Uncharted 3 is the best of the original trilogy.
Well, there's your credibility got there. Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke-in-Trent. Hang your head in shame.
He goes on, the variety in the campaign, the set pieces, the sense of globe-trotting, the characterisation in seeing young Nate and Sully. In this case, James is indeed correct. Hey, David, did I tell you... there's so much follow-up from this one from Adam. Hey, David, did I ever tell you about the time I broke both my legs and then immediately went skydiving the next day? Oh, yeah, I remember. Absolutely no chance that would ever happen, just like Charlie Cutter.
No, this is the thing, right? You can't just... this is the equivalent of, when Metal Gear Solid 5 come out and they said there's a really good reason she's wearing no clothes, guys, and then the reason was bullshit. Yeah. It was the same. Doesn't he go on to say that the actor...
No, so then Gary Dutton tweeted actually saying, quick follow-up on Charlie Cutter. Charlie Cutter, by the way, if you didn't listen to last week, and if so, why didn't you listen to last week's show?
Well, maybe you're tired of the format.
Yeah, dead in it in a way. All the good ones on YouTube. So Charlie Cutter was someone from... Charlie Cutter was in Uncharted 3, right? But he suddenly left for whatever reason.
He was like a big part of the start of that game, and then just suddenly he was not in it anymore.
Yeah, so Gary Dutton tweeted saying, quick follow-up on Charlie Cutter. Henning had to write him out early because his voice actor, Graham McTavish, sounds made up, got a role in The Hobbit and moved to New Zealand. He was meant to be in to the end, but clearly too busy chasing Hobbits.
Gary's point there ruins that other guy's point of, oh, he broke his legs. There was a good reason why he wasn't in. No, the reason was the actor got a better job, and they went, fuck, what are we going to do? I don't know, break his legs? Oh, yeah, that'll do, fuck it. Like, it was just, I mean, ridiculous. I can't tell you how weird that was, that suddenly, like, it was just build up, break his legs, right, gone. You know, it's just, like, if it was a shock death, why didn't they kill him? Maybe they were thinking, oh, you know, if we do another one.
So much potential, yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great character.
He was a decent character, to be fair, until he did that whole claustrophobic thing and went nuts, and then you had to try and avoid him while he was chasing Nate or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, it just did seem weird. And how anyone can play that and say it's better than 2 is absolutely beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. And as I say, it gets a bit of a slating, probably unfairly, because it had its moments. But, you know, it was really good seeing Sully and Nate when when Nate was young and stuff. That was all great, but at the same time, it had that bit where you had to run away from the agents on a rooftop that you would just continually foul, because it was just it was awful. You know, I'm not with you. I can't get on board with this line of thought. Sorry.
Adam continues. Also, sometimes we all need to be quite open-minded. A game like Typewriter can be a breath of fresh air among all the massive open world games of late. 1 to 2 hours is perfect, and I again agree with James. I understand, David. How can a game about just letters be any good, right? Numbers will be just the same. Good luck on your quest to win more games with 3s for the rest of humanity.
3s is fun to play. It's addictive. It's a good game.
Yeah, that's not really a comparison you can make, is it?
No, you can make an excellent game about letters. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, when you got a wall of text explaining how font came about, I was like, yeah, no, this ain't for me, this one. This is not what I'm into. And to be fair, I didn't turn around to say to James that he's an idiot for liking it, did I? I don't think I did. I just said that I thought it was shit. And I think that's okay. It's okay to do that.
I think if anything, James said you were an idiot for not liking it. I think that was the...
Yeah, well, who's the idiot for... Shut up, James.
That's him told.
Adam does not quit. Listen, we all have a James in our lives. We all have to admit that sometimes our James can be right. Maybe, just maybe, we can even learn something from James. Give him a break, guys. This week, James was definitely right.
Right about what? About Uncharted 3? Right, okay. So he's saying he was right about Uncharted 3. He wasn't. Like, there's just no way. I'm sorry, I'm not having that one. He's right about Typewriter being good. Okay, well, some people might like it. Fair enough. But I certainly didn't, and I'm well within my rights to tell him that I didn't. I'm not going to turn around and say, actually, yeah, no, that is good. You're right. The font is interesting now. It's not. It's boring. So, not for me. Any other feedback?
I will say one thing. I mean, I actually played Typewriter this week, hoping that James would be on the show. He isn't, so... Come back next week for the insightful chat on Typewriter.
This is really disappointing, because I want to at least know whose side you're on.
Well,
but maybe we should save it.
Luke Renderbear's Busker Lily, he actually he listened to last week's show and he digged out all the YouTube videos we mentioned, and he created a playlist, and I've tweeted it from the computer game show.
That was great. I watched that 3 times, amazing. That full playlist.
Luke Renderbears then keeps saying that he can't stop hearing succulent Chinese meal and how can she slap? Which are
I missed the best quote
lines
from that Australian one as well. The when he turns around and goes, "Good one." it's just so out of place. It's fucking brilliant.
Speaking of me tweeting and whatnot, John Evans at Speedy Yellow on Twitter. Matt keeps saying he's going to put things in the show notes, but he never does. And I said, "Oh yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting." And he's like, "I hope the answer would actually be that you would put show notes on the show." There are no show notes in this show, so just I'm afraid not. I mean, unlike other podcasts where they have detailed links to everything that's been discussed, that's not what we do here. So I'm sorry. If I ever say show notes, I'm just lying.
I mean, I mentioned this in the Discord chat because someone also mentioned on the Discord chat that they wanted show notes and stuff, and Matt said, "Oh no, that's for quality podcasting, like on Interface, right, and all this sort of stuff." He's done that line in about 3 places, and oh no, actually we do it on Interface. But the fact is, last week when I got a message, "Can you do show notes?" I went into the WhatsApp group and said, people were asking for show notes. Should I do them? And you all went, nah, don't worry about it. And
then it wasn't that. It was chapters, wasn't it?
What?
You said chapters, right? That's different.
Timestamps.
Yeah.
Timestamps.
What's the difference between that and show notes?
Well, because show notes are literally just like all the links or things that I mentioned. Timestamps are like, we now talk about Typewriter at 28 minutes, 42 seconds. That's a long thing.
Well, we could do show notes if you... I mean, we don't really talk about links and stuff. That was a rare occasion where we would talk about links, wasn't it? We don't usually do that
apart from
sort
the
of
New
stuff.
Zelda game.
Nice.
Awaken, yeah. Barry Mitchell said, if James was such a connoisseur, he would know it's typefaces, not fonts. So there's a smackdown from Barry Mitchell there.
Boy, is his face red.
Oh, James. Absolutely
that is the real reason why James is not on the show this week. He's still burning from that.
He knows. It's not fonts, it's typefaces. If you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter or thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. If you want to email us your feedback or any comments on this show or any others we've done, that's it.
If you'd like to tell us whether you think the format is dead or not, then please send a tweet to @CaptainToss and
at CS87.
CS87
at Midnight Resistance.
We got that wrong because it's at Midnight Resist. Because when we came up with the name, we forgot to check if it would fit into a Twitter handle.
Matt didn't make that mistake. Would you remember? For ages, we were agonising over what the Twitter thing should be. Oh, I don't want pod in it. I don't want pod. He kept saying it. I don't want it to have pod in the name. It's like, all right, Matt, whatever. Don't care. Doesn't matter. What is our one? Computer Game Pod. Oh, it does have pod in it.
They all have pod in these days. You don't know what they can fit in.
I don't like it. Right, okay, cool. Let's get on to news.
Right, there's quite a lot, so I'll blast through
It's a big
this.
news week.
Right,
so because there's only three of us, so what you've been playing sections could be quite short.
We don't have to rush it. I fuck all this week, Sean. So
same here.
Calm it down. Don't worry. Let's take our time over these bad boys.
Right, massive shock. Vanquish is definitely coming out for PC. It's coming out on the 25th of May, and the frame rate goes up to 144 frames a second, lads.
Wow.
Can't wait.
That's a lot of frames.
Can't wait for it to run at about 20 on my computer.
I don't care. Is it going to come? Is any of this stuff coming to console? Like new console?
They haven't said.
Current console. There was someone was saying that it's more likely to have a backwards compatible mode on Xbox One. If it gets that, then
I'll do.
I would happily buy Vanquish because it was one of those ones I never got round to playing, but I know that I would love. So it's got to be done at some point.
So they released Bayonetta only like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now this. Like, they're really, smashing it out of the park, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's like 2 in a month. What's next?
Well, there's I'm jumping ahead now, but sod it. There was another story. This was on Gematsu and a couple of other places. Sega have put out, what is it? They did a business presentation called The Road to 2020, which notes the revival of major IPs as a sort of priority.
This gets me hot and bothered.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows.
Does it?
All the good Sega stuff is from ages ago, so... I mean, I'm all right with it.
What are you thinking?
I mean, what I'm thinking, and this is maybe a bit of a leap, Phantasy Star Online on Switch. But I don't know. But I mean, if it's Phantasy Star Online 2, that'd be wicked. But
a revival, that doesn't necessarily just mean old games brought out again. Like, I would
true,
assume
yeah,
that
could mean sequels,
and stuff.
And that could mean bad games. Because look at Sonic. So yeah, I mean, it's not massively clear, but it's just interesting, and especially with them realizing that they can, they've got games that they could just bring out on PC and they do really well. It's interesting.
Did Bayonetta do well then?
Yeah, really well.
Did you buy it?
I didn't, because I've got the Wii U version sat here, so I'm all right.
Yeah, I mean, I see no reason to. I mean, I don't own a PC, so there's zero reason to buy it. But
I mean, if you didn't have a Wii U, then that's got to be like the definitive version of
Bayonetta, with them bringing all this shit forward, there's going to be a Bayonetta 1 and 2 for Switch, isn't there? It's going to happen.
You'd hope so.
Nintendo Switch presentation at E3.
Well,
this gets me so excited. I mean, I used to love Sega, but I was a massive Sega fanboy. I was, got over when they said they were stopping hardware, stopping doing hardware, and I always had a dream where one month, or back then it was on a magazine, but back then I was thinking, 1 month the cover will just be like Sega's back, and there'll be new hardware, and it'll be the best day ever. But it hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. But yeah, I love
the Dreamcast was the Wii U, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
and then the only difference is there was nothing after the Dreamcast, right? So the Wii U, everyone was like, no, but I really love that console. I really love it. And then when the Switch came out, everyone was like, yeah, no, the Wii U was shit, but now we've got Switch. But because Sega didn't have that one after the Dreamcast, people still haven't given up the whole, no, the Dreamcast was brilliant. You're going, come on, mate.
The Dreamcast was brilliant, no,
I played 90 minutes soccer on that. It wasn't that. No one bought it.
Yeah, well, I fucking bought. I just love. I love my Mega Drive. I love my Saturn. Love my Master System. Yeah.
Didn't the Saturn get to you like it did me? Because we all know the story. I bought a Saturn, got everyone at my school to buy a Saturn, then was hated for the rest of my time at school because I made everyone buy the wrong one. And don't get me wrong, fucking games on it that I played. Playing Sega Rally on that thing, and was it Virtua Cop and Virtua Fighter and Nights into Dreams and stuff like that. Unbelievable times. I loved it. But looking back on it, it was a bit shit, wasn't it?
I bought my Saturn when the PlayStation was coming, and I was thinking, Sony, I think I've literally said this line before on the show, but Sony make hi-fis and Walkmans, like they've released something called the PlayStation. It sounds like a Tomy, it sounds like some shit, VTech stuff. I'm not buying the PlayStation, it sounds like something for kids. I'm buying a Sega machine with International Victory Soccer or whatever.
I remember going and playing the Destruction Derby demo. They had a Destruction Derby demo when the PlayStation came out. I remember playing that and just thinking, I
had that on my Saturn.
I had that on my Saturn. It was the wrong one.
The slowdown was insane, but I had that on my Saturn. Yeah, it was insane slowdown.
I just remember playing it around my local game store and just like on this PlayStation thinking, oh, for fuck's sake. I can't do anything now.
Anyway, in terms of Sega games, yes, obviously I want the new Burning Rangers. I want new Deep Fear, because that came out right at the end of Saturn's life cycle. A new Daytona has been announced for arcades. That's already been shown. So, yeah, Daytona, new one for that on console will be amazing.
That's really weird with Daytona. They've just kept the old graphics, haven't they? They've done nothing to make it look good. Well, it's an old style looking game. It doesn't look like how you would expect. It wasn't like the Sega Rally reboot when
it's
Sega
funny
Rally
though because no one's really nostalgic for like early 3D stuff, are they?
Like, no, of course
not in the same way that people are for pixel art and stuff. It's just not very good.
I remember seeing Virtua Fighter in the arcade for the first time, and my brother going, "Dave, look, it's 3D. You can walk anywhere," and just looking at it and thinking, even now, I can tell that this looks total dog shit.
Yeah. I remember like Virtua Racing on Mega Drive. I'm sure there was like a version for Mega Drive.
There was.
That was total dog shit. But having said that, I'd love obviously a new Sega Rally. Sega Rally, the first one, is my favourite racing game of all time. A new Knights would be amazing. But I was thinking like a House of the Dead or Virtua Cop for PSVR would work super well. Yeah. I would love that.
Also, I mean, you had House of the Dead Overkill for the Wii, didn't we? And that was pretty damn good.
It was.
I remember it was just ridiculous swearing or something.
Do you remember the ending?
I don't.
So the ending, close your ears, kids, involves, so the main villain, his mum has mutated into a giant monster, and the ending is him crawling into her vagina.
Okay. That's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, the rest of the game was fucking utterly absurd, so why not that?
Yeah. I had a signed copy of that, didn't I?
You know when you're in a meeting, right, and there's loads of people there, and you want to say something, but also you're just, like, so worried that you're either going to say something really obvious and everyone's going to look at you like you're an idiot, or say something so stupid someone's just going to laugh in your face. I mean, someone was in that meeting and had that idea of crawling into his mum's fanny and just thinking, "Do you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to
say it. I'm going to get raised."
And everyone else just nodding and scribbling in their notebook.
I mean, you've got to remember, this was at the time when Sega obviously took this angle of like, let's just put out some, like, because the Wii had this image of being like a family/kiddies console, right? So they went, right, let's put out Mad World and this weird House of the Dead game where they just pushed as hard as they could for him to be like incredibly gross.
So like, back in those days, like every game had like a crawling to the fanny moment. It was ridiculous.
You couldn't move for it.
Like, oh, it's not me too. Fucking hell! Like, not another one. I'm sick of it.
Matt, maybe we should do a podcast where we just talk about games where you crawl into your mother's fanny.
No one's done that. I'll give you that.
There's a lot of material. We'll be going for years.
I know one person that would listen every week. I've got him in mind. Okay, cool. What was it? Anything else in the news?
Yeah, so this was two stories that sort of somehow managed to come out separately, even though they're definitely related. So on the one hand, Square Enix announced that they're binning off IO Interactive, developers of Hitman, because it lost a shit ton of money, despite all appearances that I did really well, as far as I was aware. But then maybe that's our Twitter bubble, and that's just me and my mates really enjoying it. Lost a shitload of money, so they are selling IO Interactive.
It's such a surprise because obviously they announced Hitman, and then what was the timeline that they announced it? Then there's a bit of a small delay. Then they said, "Oh, it's Episonic," and everyone's like, "Oh god, brilliant!" Like, they've absolutely fucked it, or they need the budget to actually make the game. And then it was really negative. Everyone's really negative around it, and then when it started coming out, everyone's like, "Actually, this is perfect for Hitman."
This makes a ton of sense. Yeah,
it's came in the same map for a month or whatever the distance was between episodes, and it felt like the perfect way to enjoy Hitman. But
it sort of went from
maybe
like
it's just our bubble.
Yeah, it sort of went from like, like you say, they're doing this for cash flow reasons. This is not going to work. This is going to be bollocks. And whether or not that was ever true, they made it work. Like, it was proper good. And and they did eventually release the boxed disc version. There was a bit about this on GamesIndustry.biz where they said, "Oh, there were plans for a boxed version," which never happened.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Happening.
So what a shame. On the other hand, Square Enix's full financial reports have made shitloads of money overall. So
what were they making their money on then with Final Fantasy?
It's all So Final Fantasy 15 did all right. They've done a lot of mobile shit, which is doing all right. I don't know if you've noticed, there's about 5 different Final Fantasy games on your phone, and they're all like, "This is the new Final Fantasy game." I don't know. They might be all right. I've never given them time of day. But yeah, it just, I understand how these things work, but like, I think I sort of like to still harbour the illusion that if a big company makes money off the majority of things, they won't just hang out, the loss-making bits to dry immediately. Like a lot of film studios, they have the whole like, right, we'll do this one for the money, and then we'll just do other things that are just worthwhile and critically acclaimed, and as long as we're making money overall, that's fine. And yet here we see a company that overall is doing well, but there's one bit that they're not getting on with, so they're just cutting it loose, and that seems
it's almost
shame.
as if money's quite important.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not.
No, I agree. No, I'm not having a poppy. I was just saying, like, I assume the Mass Effect stuff is in your news segment.
It is. Should we do that?
I think it's related, and I want to talk about this.
So EA announced. I don't know if they announced it or if it just sort of came out through Twitter or whatever, that basically, so BioWare Montreal, who did Mass Effect Andromeda, they've been gutted, and they're now like sort of they're supporting the other BioWare studios on this, presumably this secret big project. And so Mass Effect Andromeda is basically not going anywhere for the time being. They've not even clear if it's getting any DLC.
Yeah, I was about to say, so that would rule DLC out. At least in the foreseeable future, and obviously once the game would be forgotten by the time they'd get around to doing it. But it's a very, very tough one. My initial reaction, the game should never have come out in the state it was in, right? It was a mess. It was clearly unfinished. It needed patching just to get basic animations right and stuff like that. I can see why people were angry with it. I get it. My initial reaction was, well, this is EA's fault, and it's disgraceful that this series that's so loved by people is being shelved because they forced this game to come out. And then when you think about it and you start thinking, actually, we don't know what the history is behind this. We don't know the development process. We don't know all the details of what deals have been made, because what's saying that this is definitely EA's fault if BioWare had agreed to a deadline and fucked the deadline completely. And you're saying, and you're looking at EA as a company now saying, you failed to hit this deadline. What do you want us to do? Just carry on funding you until it's complete? How long's that going to be? And when you say, oh, we need 3 more months, what's saying in 3 more months that you're not going to say we need another 3 months? How much money have we got to pile into this game? It's devastating to see that as a fan of Mass Effect and a fan of that universe and that style of game. It's horrible to see, but someone has fucked up here big time, because you look at Assassin's Creed Unity and what happened to that when that was released, and that almost put Assassin's Creed on its knees, and in some ways it did, because those games have sort of slowed up now, and the series has still got this sort of bit of a stench on it, being rushed out every year to try and grab your money. And for Mass Effect to come out in the state that it did is just unacceptable. And this is a trend across this medium that you see time and time again, where either developers are just completely fucking budgeting their development process out the bin, or publishers are demanding games come out when they're unfinished. And the only people losing out here is us, because we're getting shoddy products that are killing series we love. And it's devastating to see. I was absolutely gutted when I read this news about Mass Effect. And I will never know, but I'd love to know who was to blame, because someone made the decision to either... Someone made some terrible decisions so that the game wasn't ready on an agreed release date, or someone made a terrible decision not to delay it further.
You've got to assume it's investors or it's people saying, look, we just need it out for this fiscal year. Obviously, the decision was made between either getting it out, even though it could be shit, but maybe there's enough of a fan base that will buy it anyway, and that'll be fine, or delay it into the next fiscal year, and shares will fall through the floor, whatever.
A delay costs a publisher a hell of a lot of money. A delay would have cost EA, because I assume they were part funding its development as part of their deal. And for them to just, how many times had they been through an agreed release date that had been pushed back? We don't know. And maybe this was, look, this has to be done by March. Will it be done by March? Yes, it will be done by March. There might have been an agreement, a contract signed. This will be released by in this financial year. And then it comes round to it and saying, well, you fucked it. You fucked the development up. It's not finished. What can they do? They either pull the plug and lose all their investment, or they keep funding it for an unknown amount of time that could just keep moving back and back and back and losing more money. And I think the decision was probably made, look, we need to claw some of our money back from what we put into this development. We don't know. It's all speculation, but at the end of the day, someone has fucked one of the sort of much-loved series up. It was already on shaky ground after all that nonsense about Mass Effect 3's ending happened, but this seems to be a massive killer, a massive blow for that series, and that's a shame in my book.
Yeah.
Sad.
I mean, you would think, after the whole Kickstarter thing has been and maybe gone, we'll get onto that in a minute, obviously the way the public reacts when a game that they've kickstarted gets delayed constantly or whatever, or turns out to not be as good as they thought. At least, the developers aren't coming to you and going, oh yeah, it's not ready yet. Can we have another 30 quid?
Yeah.
So I do, although I do imagine some of the, certainly some of this is the publisher's fault. I don't think it's, you're not telling the full story by insisting that it's, money grabbing publishers who, just like want to just rinse it for cash and then just put out a shit game. I don't think that is the case because they know that doesn't, engender like good, like decent long-term support and stuff. So I don't suppose they wanted to put Mass Effect Andromeda out in the state it was, but
oh, of course not.
But if it is that, or like they lose money and people would have to lose their jobs, like as it is, I mentioned this, the studio's been gutted. They've been moved to other studios to work on other things, so that no one's actually lost their jobs yet. And yet, it's it might well have been the case that if they'd given them another 6 months, maybe people would have been laid off. So capitalism's ace is what I'm saying.
It's money versus it's art versus business, isn't it? And I mean, every artist or I'm sure every developer would want to make things as good as they can, and that takes time, and their mind's not on the budget. They just want to make the best thing that they possibly can. But at the same time, these games cost a ridiculous amount of money to make, and the people that are funding it are not just going to sit and pile money into something and create a bigger black hole, because the chance of them getting a return on their investment is getting smaller and smaller for each day it isn't released. Sad scenes.
On top of that, we've talked about Andromeda a lot, and it does have problems, but I think me and David both agree it's something we wanted to see more of. It deserved a better chance, and it deserves, I reckon if they'd got a chance to do some proper DLC for it, I reckon we would have seen something really special. And it is pretty good in and of itself. But it would have been great to see more of it. I mean, we might, but as you say, I think by the time Mass Effect is allowed back out, I think Andromeda will just be binned.
You've just got to hope that as a business, computer games evolve a bit and get beyond this state, because we've complained about it for years, games being released in an unfinished state, and people have the right to be angry about that because it's just not acceptable. We're paying more and more for these games, and we're getting shoddier and shoddier products at the end of it. And that's not a blanket statement. I'm not applying that to all games. Some games come out, and Mario Kart 8 comes out, and it's incredible. It's smooth, no frame dropping.
Well,
what?
I've had a lot of network issues this week, just playing local multiplayers.
Okay, we'll get to that then. But it's that thing where they I mean, it seems weird that we're still having teething problems with this stuff. But
it's interesting that when patches first became a thing on the PC ages ago, everyone said, this could be bollocks. This could end up being really dangerous, and people just shove things out and patch them later, and that could end up being really bad. And actually, for the most part, people were pretty good about it. Yes, day one patches sort of became fairly common, but then so did everyone having a broadband connection, and it wasn't such an issue. But now it feels like we're at a point where it might come out broken, and the publisher might go, we haven't got the money to support it, so you're not even getting a patch. As far as I'm aware, the multiplayer in Andromeda still crashes a lot and disconnects a lot. Stuff like that might just not get dealt with,
And No Man's Sky comes to mind as well.
Oh, come on, they have supported that, though. They definitely
they
needed
have,
it.
But how long ago did it come out, Sean?
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Right.
One more. Yep. So, the developers of Parappa the Rapper and Guitar Man, Nana Onsha and Innis, have announced. So this was basically, I don't know if it was leaked, but it was certainly rumoured for a while that they were collaborating on a new rhythm action game, and it has now been revealed it's called Rap Rabbit, and they've done a Kickstarter for it. Now, so bearing in mind, this was announced via the European PlayStation blog. So, I mean, I'm a bit could Sony not have paid for it?
Shenmue
well,
did the same thing.
So I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. I mean, the stretch goals are weird. Have you had a look?
No, what's it say?
Well, basically, so by default, it's coming out on the PlayStation 4, right? If they get 3 million, they'll do an Xbox One version. And if they get 5 million, they'll do a Switch version.
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is. Like, I mean, I understand to a point that obviously porting to other formats does cost money, but that then widens your potential audience. I feel like by putting such huge stretch goals for other formats, that's like, yeah, but that helps you make money. So why am I feeling like I'm responsible for getting it out on other formats? I don't know. Maybe it's nowhere near that simple, but
people had a go at me it was back in the Joypod days when what was it? Kickstarter was proper taking off for saying, well, surely if you're investing in a product, you deserve a return. Like, you're the reason it exists. You deserve a return on that. You're taking the risk by handing over your money. And as little as that is, as a small amount of money that is, it like in terms of investment, it still counts, and you should have some sort of stake in that. But that's not how Kickstarter works.
Double Fine tried to fix that with Fig. Have you ever seen Fig?
No, what's that?
That's their crowdfunding platform, and basically, you can opt to get a return on your investment. But it's like, obviously, the terms are so strict. It's like, the game has to sell like a certain amount before you start getting anything, and then by the time you do, it'll probably be pennies. But I appreciate them trying to figure that problem out.
Yeah. But actually, I mean, one thing that's really telling about certainly recent Kickstarter stuff. Have you noticed that a lot of it tries to play on nostalgia?
Yeah,
and
pretty much all of it.
That's what it's all about. That is it. It's trying to go, shit, how do we get the money? Oh, let's try and say that it's like this thing. Let's, and it's just, I don't like that. I don't like that. Hey, you like Banjo-Kazooie? Well, let's do a game like that, but only if you pay for it up front. And it's kind of like, and it comes out and it's like, wow, this is not what I wanted. I've never liked Kickstarter.
The vast majority of successful game Kickstarters. So you've got, Double Fine said, hey, let's do an old school point and click adventure. You had David Braben saying, oh, let's do another Elite game. You had Inti Creates saying, oh, let's do another game that's basically Mega Man, but not. And the list goes on, and now you've got these guys saying, let's do another music game. Remember those? And I mean, this went up. I think this went up this morning, and obviously it's had a lot of coverage, and they've currently raised 52 grand, and they want 855.
Yeah, no, that's probably not going to make it. Sean, is there still a place for music games like this?
I reckon so.
People
think still enjoy music games, right? I mean, obviously the whole. I mean, yeah, so there's, Guitar Hero and Rock Band and everything, and everyone had loads of plastic in their room that they can't be doing with. So I think, like that's well and truly been over for a long time, obviously. Yeah. And yeah,
the format's dead, isn't it, for the fake instruments?
Format is dead.
I would say, I mean, you look at games like Thumper, which reviewed very well, got some. I don't know how successful it was in terms of sales, but it must have done pretty well because they're bringing it to Switch, aren't they? So it's not like they've dropped the idea completely. I just think that there was that era was Guitaroo Man but all right, there was a big space between that and Parappa the Rapper. There was a fair few years, but that sort of quirky, I don't know, Rhythm Paradise is kind of quirky, I guess, maybe, I don't know. I went back and played Parappa the Rapper. They brought it out on PS4 and I played the demo, and I was kind of like, wow, I'm really not feeling this like I used to back then. I mean, I remember playing the demo of Parappa the Rapper on PS1 and just playing it over and over and over again and thinking, wow, this is just utterly incredible. And then I played it the other day and I was like, what? Oh, okay. Although saying that, I got a feeling that if I played Guitaroo Man right now, I'd still have a whale of a time. Yeah. And then certainly the case with Uendan. So maybe there's still maybe there's a gap there.
I mean, when you look at games that like Innis have made, so they went from Oendan to they did Guitar Man as well, but then they also did Lips and the Black Eyed Peas experience. So this is one of the best music game developers going, and that's what they had to do to get by.
Lips was the Xbox One version of SingStar.
I tried that. It came with a sparkly mic.
Was it Xbox One or was it original Xbox?
Oh, sorry.
Original Xbox
360. Yeah, no, it was pretty good. It was pretty good for what it was. It's just they didn't have the insane support that SingStar had. The catalogue that game built up, and the stuff that it was doing with swapping discs and stuff. SingStar was something we played regularly back in the day.
Yeah. Do you reckon you could play Oendan with your fingers, or would you have to use a stylus?
They bought something. I'm pretty sure there was an iPhone. It was either a rip-off or made by the same people.
There was a rip-off, wasn't there? Yeah. That worked.
It was okay, but I don't even know if an Oendan. I remember playing Oendan 2 and thinking, yeah, this is all right. It's not got the same thing.
The songs weren't as good, were they?
No, it's all about
Elite
the songs.
Beat Agents, the sort of westernised one, yeah.
Oh God, that was no. They had an Oendan 2, an actual.
Oh, they
Oendan
did. Sorry,
2.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Elite Beat was okay, but it was obviously nothing like the original.
Yeah. Have you guys, just on the subject of music games, have you guys seen Harmonix's latest?
The board game.
Yeah, well, card game.
Yeah, it's a card game. Sorry, yeah. I watched a video of it, and some people were getting super hyped about it.
Yeah. So for those who've not seen, it's called Drop Mix, and I mean it's worth just looking it up on YouTube just to actually hear it, because describing it might sound kind of shit, but basically, yeah. So it's a like a 2-player like deck building card game, and obviously they're pretty big at the moment. So hopefully this pans out for them. But the trick is, you have to buy this like board which has like some fancy NFC readers in it, and all the cards have NFC chips in them. And basically, as you're playing this game where you're putting down cards and earning points and trying to batter the other person, like every card like is a song, and like depending on there are like different bits on this board where you can place it. So like one bit is the bass line, one's the drums, one's vocals, one's guitar or whatever. And yeah, basically sticking a card down, like there's a song constantly playing, and it adapts depending on what cards you put down as you go. And it's fucking nuts. Like, it works really well. Like, it's worth looking up and, like, just have a look on YouTube, because it is fascinating. And how they've gone about making sure there's, like, half-decent remixes for, like, any possible combination of cards, I have no idea. But that looks really interesting.
How much it's going to be?
I think the board thing they've said is, like, $100. So, and yeah... It's quite a lot, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay then. All right. Fine. Are we done?
I am done. Yes.
Cool. Should we do what we've been playing?
I don't know. Format's dead, mate. Actually, I'm trying to absolve myself by getting in on the joke. See that? That's good.
I know the format's dead, and we've just.
You're a fucking traitor, Sean. Don't try and. Fuck you. Go on. Sorry.
There is actually some more news.
Go on.
Well, just that Nintendo have obviously announced their E3 plans now, and they've said that the main sort of video they're doing is called Spotlight, and that's going to focus on Switch, where 3DS will be in the Treehouse area. So it feels it feels to me at least that the big focus is Switch, but 3DS is just
a confident shift, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm quite happy about that.
I mean, considering they've just brought out a new console. 2DS console. It's a bit weird, but I don't know. Maybe I mean that's a good sign. It means these things are usually about an hour long, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully an hour's worth of Switch content means they've got something to show. So I'll be really interested to see what happens. I will never forget that Nintendo Direct where they spent more time saying, go to the website because we haven't got time to tell you everything, than they did talk about the games that were coming out. That was the Wii U one, wasn't it? It was so weird. They kept saying, oh, we got to be quick. We've got so much to tell you and we can't cram it into this video. And then they spoke about some Pokemon card for about like 20 minutes. We go, what the fuck are you doing? Good on Nintendo. But I'm hoping they've got some big shit to reveal.
Nintendo have also confirmed that they're going to bring Legend of Zelda to smartphones after Animal Crossing.
Yeah. How do you reckon that's going to go?
I don't know. I don't know. They're still finding their way with this stuff, aren't they? They're still testing the waters, trying stuff out. I think their most successful one is obviously Fire Emblem. So maybe we'll see something a little bit more along the lines of that. I do not know how you do Zelda on a phone.
I mean, Mario, I've enjoyed it. I don't think I should have spent £8 on it.
It's a good game. I really enjoyed it. But
I'm happy I spent money.
I felt like I'd had my feel of it pretty quickly. Although it still gets played in this house. It was played this morning, but obviously not by me. So yeah, not whether it was. I think it was a success as a game. I really enjoyed it, but in terms of a commercial success, probably didn't do as much as they'd hoped. But Fire Emblem come out and then smash things to pieces, didn't it? So who knows? Who knows which way they're going to go? Who knows how they're going to ruin your beloved characters and series? Okay, cool. Right, what you been playing, Matt? Let's start with you.
It's been a slim week. I've been incredibly busy with work and life, but I did manage to find time to play Idle Universe. I'm not the only one. Many listeners have tweeted in saying that they've also started playing it, and pretty much everyone hates Dave for pointing out the game because everyone's horribly addicted.
Don't hate me. Hate the guy in the Discord in TCGS. I wouldn't have known about this thing if it wasn't for them. So it's our fans' fault, if anything, is what I'm saying.
So Idle Universe. I downloaded it. I downloaded it during this very show last week, and I was playing it non-stop, and it was just very early on. I was like, this isn't even slightly enjoyable. Actually, it had the UI is pretty bad, pretty confusing, and it's just I'm again not really getting much satisfaction. But I did play a lot over like 3 or 4 days now. I just had to delete it because it's just getting too much. Because what you do is you tap on these various molecules and whatnot until you get to things like bits of grains of dust and then rocks and asteroid. But you keep tapping the screen to get more of these points, and then it's a tapper, whatever. But after a while, it's worth imploding, because every time you implode, which basically means you lose all your points, you lose your running total, you lose everything, but you do get lots of this other currency, and the other currency can buy these things called divine powers. And divine powers, I think there's 21 of those to collect. Those enable much more substantial production benefits and boosts like straight away, so you can get like 30% extra, or I think you can keep upgrading them, but it's like in 5% increments, the greater chance of mega taps or big taps, whatever, and those happen every now and then, and you get much higher scores. But so the basic aim of the game is you build up shitloads of points, and then you implode, lose them all, and start again. But every time you start again, you are getting to that there were trillions and millions and whatnot much quicker, because you've got these extra production bonuses. Thanks to the divine powers. But I did like 3 or 4 of them, and I thought, I can't be bothered to start again now, to implode. It's just it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah, it's funny because I've also deleted it now, and when I saw that, I had no idea about the imploding stuff.
I was going to say, I've been playing for 4 days, and I was like, Dave, how many times you imploded? Like, so what? And then you didn't believe me, and you went on Discord and like, hey everyone, Matt says about imploding. Is this a good thing I should do or not? Like, Just he didn't believe me.
I believed you. I just wanted to know if it was the right thing to do, like implode at that point, or should I wait for a little bit longer? I didn't want to like implode and then no, you got to wait until you do this, then you implode.
But for all the times you're basically amassing millions, billions, and trillions of points, in the Divine Powers panel, one of the 5 pages or screen in the game, it's sort of building up this black, I think it's dark matter score, and that's like the second currency you get when you implode. And I was basically on about 8 or 10,000 dark matter. But Dave, you had played so much and hadn't imploded. Didn't you have like 330,000 dark matter or something crazy?
I did. Yeah, 330,000. Yeah. No. The thing is, right, is initially when I saw this sort of mechanic in the game, I was like, well, this is genius. This is a way to reset. Like we were comparing it a lot to that what was it, the Breaking Bad one that was doing the rounds on the internet not too long ago, and the problem with that is that once you reach to the point where you didn't need to tap anymore, it was just the numbers going up. That was it. That was the end. That was the sort of end. And this was like, this come up with a solution. How do we keep people playing? And I thought this, at first I thought it was genius. I was like, yeah, you give them a reason to start from scratch. Okay, you start from scratch, but you'll get further quicker this time. And then after about the third time I did it, I was like, actually, I'm not so sure that is a great idea, because it kind of got to a point where I was just like, I've done this 3 or 4 times now, and yeah, it's going a bit quicker, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to stop and implode again when I get to a certain point. And yeah, I kind of thought, actually, it's just highlighting to me how pointless this all is, and I deleted it because I just didn't want to open it up again.
Yeah, it didn't really imploding wasn't very satisfying at all. It wasn't. It constantly made you feel like, well, if I wait another day, I would have amassed an extra 10k of dark matter. And when I eventually did it, I was like, okay, let's start again. And then you're fucking tapping, atoms and stuff, and it's just, it wasn't satisfying.
What was your tapping technique, Matt?
Just like mostly drumming my fingers.
With 4 fingers.
Well, you couldn't really do 4 fingers because often those you're actually missing the target. So it's fine when you got off an asteroid level.
You could do that. You press the little down arrow and make it like the screen.
Yeah, I've cool. But
I'd do that. And then just 4 fingers.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I stopped. Basically, I just imploded, and I thought, you know what, fuck this. I was like, quick delete, bang, and I hadn't even really been thinking about it. I just thought I'll keep playing, and then just that last implode, I was like, this is it's like I just woke up. It's like, what am I fucking doing? This is ridiculous. Delete.
Yeah, I had the same moment,
and I haven't installed it since. Okay, I reinstalled it once, but I haven't
installed
really? It. Yeah, I haven't installed it since that one time I reinstalled it.
Did it keep your save when you reinstalled it?
No.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. That would be an instant delete then, if that had happened to
me. See, not skipping ahead to mine, but I played Space Plan.
Yeah, everyone's recommended
it's relevant.
The fact you have to pay money for this means no, I'm not going to.
There is that, but it is pretty good, and it does just have an end. So I was quite happy with it, because it was, for the sort of the 2 or 3 days I had it on the go, it was quite dangerous. Didn't get a lot of work done because I was just every sort of 10 minutes where I'd not use my phone, I was like, oh fuck, I'm checking on Space Plan, see if I can buy anything. So I'm very glad it ended when it did. But yeah, I can see how terrifying one of these must be if there isn't a particular end to it.
So how long did it take to finish this? Because it's quite rare for these games to have an ending, isn't it?
It only took me, 2 or 3 days. But that was, that was with instantly getting quite obsessed. I didn't do a tremendous amount of actual.
That is still
tapping.
36 hours. So that's still 36 hours of solid play.
Yeah, and basically the only time I wasn't thinking about it was when I was asleep. So yeah, pretty bad. It's. I mean, it sounds very similar. Obviously, I guess this is the first clicker I've ever played. I imagine they all work on similar principles in that it's kind of kidding you into thinking that, but if you just get to a certain level, you won't really have to click anymore. And that's kind of true, But then you will sit there being like, "Oh, I'm a bit short of buying something, so I'm just going to sit here and mash it for a minute."
Idle Universe never gets to the point. It never gets to a point where it says, "Grow up, Sean." It never gets to a point where it says, like, it makes you feel that you can just turn it off. Like, it's constantly highlights the fact that you need to be tapping. You just need to be tapping constantly. So that is a bit of a. I was close to having heart attacks and stuff. It's just like thinking, well, I could be tapping. Why am I not tapping?
The space plan, the way it works is, so when you first start, basically, if you close the app, then you get like half an hour where it'll just carry on generating. But then you can buy things that allow it to carry on for longer while you're gone. And by the end, it's like an hour and a half.
When you say buy, you mean are there any microtransactions on top?
So no microtransactions. No, it's all the energy you generate. You then purchase other things, and it's all sort of framed around this. It's really weird. You're like in a little spaceship, and you find this like dead planet, and you're generating electricity with potatoes, and it's a bit wacky. But it's the whole sort of like the things you end up doing towards the end are actually really interesting, and the way it uses
what makes it good where these tappers are usually horrible and shit. Why is this a good one?
This is literally the only one I've played. It doesn't fit. Yes, like it's like £3 or £4, which is quite, for phone games more than most people are used to paying. But it's one and done, so there's no cynicism in it. At no point are they trying to get more cash out of you. The story is pretty interesting. The writing is occasionally quite funny. You can quite easily get to a point where you don't really have to tap anymore unless you're getting really obsessive, which I did occasionally, but that's my own fault, I think. Just later on, like the fact that I'm kind of worried about spoiling it probably
that says
a lot.
There's no spoiling Idle Universe.
Yeah, but like it was kind of terrifying playing one of these for the first time, and just how thrilling it is making a number go up faster.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Pathetic, isn't it?
We said when we were talking about this game last week, I bet you were sitting there thinking, I could never get properly addicted to just tapping a screen and watching a number go up. Like, there must have been part of you thinking, not me. There's no way I'd fall into this trap. It's so easy to do, isn't it?
Here we are. Yeah.
It's nuts. I'm surprised Matt didn't go even further down the rabbit hole. He tried to. Like, he was texting me saying, "Look, what's the most optimal way of achieving that?" And I'm going, Matt,
I asked you, and then a day later I realised you didn't even know the core mechanic of the game, so I felt silly.
Asking the wrong fella there.
The thing is, you're like, I'm not even telling you, Matt. I've got my own system. No, Dave, I did have my own system
until I realised that there was other systems.
What was the system? Not imploding?
No, it was like something about I would fully at the start I would fully upgrade my tapping. What is it? The tapping one rather than the auto ones.
Hand of taps, whatever.
And all and stuff like that. And to take everything up to what I would do is take the latest one that you've just done up to 10, level it up 10 times, and everything before that up to 35, and then continue as a chain. So once I'd leveled it up to 10, work up to the next sort of milestone, then upgrade that one up to 10 and the one below it up to 35, and that was working quite well. It seemed like there wasn't a point where I was just like, oh my god, I'm never going to make that amount of money. I had a system in place. It was just missing a core element.
I also liked changing the amount you can tap. So there's a button on the right hand side where you can obviously tap just once, but you can set it so it's times 10, times 100, or times max. And I would have it on times max, and then whenever the bar went blue, which suddenly means you're producing a lot more for the same amount of taps, and within the same time, I just jumped on those and then got a shitload more points. Did you ever do that, Dave?
Well, oh my god, this is really going to expose me. I thought the times 1, times 10, and times max or whatever was about so that you didn't have to keep tapping the upgrade for each item.
Yeah, it is. But when you suddenly see production going through the roof, you haven't got time to tap like 50 times to just like bang on max, and then you've quickly got it all at that sort of points bonus
before it completes the time thing. Yeah.
Anyway, great game. Never go play it again.
Yeah, I'm never going to play it again, but I am interested in other tappers. I want to try this egg one.
Do you think Space Plan's worth it then, Sean?
Yeah, I really liked it.
£4 though.
Okay, cool. Matt, anything else?
I mean, I also started playing Zelda again. Because I restarted the save, and I'm excited to get back into it. I don't know if I've played a game. I don't know if I've put like 70+ hours into a game and then wanted to restart it so soon and not be bored of it. And it also, I feel like I'm starting now with like the hindsight. I've obviously clearly put loads of hours into it before, and I know different things about the universe. And obviously this game, I still wish I got it digitally because I'm gonna be playing it forever. I think just seeing new things here and there. And I'm gonna go I'm gonna travel a totally different way this time. I know like where certain things are and aren't, and I didn't do Eventide. I didn't do loads of things last time, so I'm excited to get back into it. I've also been playing.
Did you just stop yourself from spoiling something? Then is that what
that was about?
I wasn't
sure if I'd pronounced it incorrectly. Is it Eventide?
Oh, right. Is it Eventide? I think it's Eventide or Eventide. I don't know. That matters, does it?
I don't know.
I've also been playing some America, and
Hold on, before you go on to that, because I've got some Zelda stuff to say. Firstly, did you said that there was like a Tingle Island or something, Sean? On an old podcast?
All on it.
Sorry?
There's nothing on it. Spoilers.
Right, okay, fine. Oh, that's weird, because James said something about, I just need more arrows, when you first mentioned it. And you laughed. Were you just being nice?
Possibly, because I now don't know what that means.
The conversation went, and there's a Tingle Island, and he went, have you been over to it yet? And you said, yeah. And then he said, I just need more arrows, Sean. And you both started laughing. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try. I don't know what that was all about.
No, off the top of my head, I can't.
Okay, fine, not to worry.
Were we not talking about the nearby tower?
Possibly.
Because that has a load of flying enemies.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What I'll say is, I went back to it again this week. Played it for probably another 5 to 10 hours. I found that that glowing thing at the top of the mountain you mentioned. Found that utterly incredible. When I saw it, I'm still a bit frustrated about it. But I'll talk to you about that after the show, probably. People have been asking us to do some spoiler chat on that, so maybe we should do that next week. If it's another quiet week, we'll do some Zelda spoiler chat at the end, because there's a lot that I want to sort of discuss with you guys. But James and I had a massive argument about the ending that we really need to get out there on the podcast at some point. We are completely disagreeing about that ending and what it should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, I thought the ending was pretty disappointing.
I spent pretty much the whole weekend just getting all of the memories. I've done all that. In the end, I love the way that that's put together. The last memory that I found before you go and find the final memory is it seemed like it was set up for that to be the last one that you find for some reason. It was the one where you see Ganon turn up, Sean. Have you seen that one? Was that the last one you found out of the main 12?
No, I did mine in a weird order, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, there is no order.
Yeah.
But that one seemed like the right one to see last for some reason. It was really well done. So I've enjoyed it now that they've patched it so that it gets rid of the English commentary and the English speech, and you could put Japanese speech over it. And I know that's like a bit of a geeky thing to do or whatever, but the voice acting is so bad for the sort of English speaking stuff that I was quite happy to just go back to the Japanese voices, which was fine. I mean, I'm going to have to get the DLC now. It's funny because, I mean, you'll remember a couple of weeks ago I was saying that I'm done with Zelda and I don't feel the need to buy the DLC. I think I do now. I'm just a little bit concerned of what's included. Because, there's some stuff that's in that DLC that I've got zero interest in. Hard mode, not interested in that at all. Yeah. I found the Colosseum the other day and tried to do that and got my ass handed to me, and I was kind of like, yeah, this is hard enough actually, so I'll just keep doing this. But yeah, just a phenomenal game. I just wish we've mentioned on the show that once you complete it, it goes back to a save just before you completed it. I wish it didn't do that. I wish it was more clever with that.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
It is, especially when you're walking around and there's people in the world going, "Oh, you got to kill Ganon, Link. Come on!" And I'm like, "I fucking have." Have you seen my save? There's a star.
Like, I know last time we discussed this, and I said, "Oh, it'd be amazing if you then went to different villages," and everyone was like, "Oh, amazing, you've saved us." But it doesn't even have to do that. Just send me back into the world, but maybe I've got a different weapon or something awesome, and I'll be happy to go around and I mean, it's a bit of a shame.
It is a shame, but I mean, what was what's in line for the DLC, Sean? What have they said is definitely there? I like the idea of seeing where you've been for the last 200 hours. Don't think that should be paid for DLC, but I like the idea of it. That should have been like a reward for completing the game, at least. I think that would have been fantastic.
I mean, they've only detailed that first DLC pack, and there's another 2.
How much is it?
They've confirmed that the last one's going to have a big dungeon, haven't they?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
is it 20 quid?
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah,
20 quid. You get like 3 or 4 chests immediately with stuff. You get the Switch T-shirt, of course, and
nice.
Yeah,
which isn't even good in game. It's not even like it's got like 3 defense or something. It's just
Can you upgrade it?
I have no idea.
I'll be honest, I didn't do much upgrading of stuff.
Did you not?
No, I mean, I got like a 7, I think is my best. And that's the swimming costume. I upgraded that for some reason.
Get it done, mate. You get sexually molested by a giant fairy.
Yeah, I know that James, if he was ever in Hyrule, he would be upgrading armour all day, every day. You could tell that.
So, in terms of what Season Pass does, the first one, obviously, Expansion Pass is out now, and you get the free treasure chests in the Great Plateau and some other stuff. DLC Pack 1, it adds a new Cave of Trials challenge, whatever that is, new hard mode, and the map feature showing your route around the map for the last 200 hours. That was out in the summer. And in Holiday 2017, DLC Pack 2, it contains new original story. So, I don't know what that is. A new dungeon and additional challenges. But when they say new dungeon, it's weird they've referred to it as dungeon, because obviously they don't really refer to anything in dungeon in the game, because it's just the Divine Beasts or the shrine. Yeah. So, new dungeon is weird. I mean, they're obviously not going to add a new Divine Beast, I would presume not, because that would be weird with the story, but...
Just to rewrite the 1,000-year-old prophecy.
But then it says new original story, so maybe that new original story means, we found another Divine Beast. I don't know. But
it would. I mean, this is asking a lot, but then other games have done it. If the new story bit for the DLC was like the post-credits bit, and then it was like carrying on for a bit afterwards,
that would be cool. Nice.
It would be nice. You can't buy this DLC pack separately, can you? So you basically have to get the pass to get all of them. You can't just say, "Okay, I'm going to wait till a second DLC pack." So if anything, you might as well buy it now, because you're going to buy it at some point anyway.
I would say, but then I mean, for some reason, I'm more compelled to buy the Hot Wheels Forza DLC
really want
than
that.
I am.
I really want that. That's only 16 quid. Yeah, that's so good.
The thing with the DLC for Zelda is that it seems that they're focusing on challenges and hard mode and things like that. Oh, that's not what I like about that game. I want a huge new area to just go walking about, flying about and stuff like that. The challenge of playing the game is not why I love playing Zelda, and it's not why I'm playing it now. It's the discovery.
Because I don't even, I understand there's obviously a lot of work to be done where they're to create a whole new area with testing and whatnot, but I would be happy literally just with a new menu saying like shrine challenge, and it's just loads of shrines. I don't even expect to find a massive a new area. Just take me from one shrine to the next. I'd love that.
See, I'd hate that. I mean, Zelda's at its best when you're looking at something and thinking, what the fuck is that? And then going over to it.
Yeah, I'm not denying that's amazing, but I'm saying, I don't expect them to keep crafting huge bits of game for for this. But whereas I could also happily just play Lords of Shrines.
You have paid for it though, Matt. I mean, there's surely you expect something that's not just a menu with shrines.
But I mean, at the very least, I would be happy with Lords of Shrines.
Okay.
I mean, one thing that is nice is that often with open world games that are getting DLC, it's usually like well fucking obvious where it goes. You know, there'll be like, there'll be an area of the map that's like, oh, we can't go here yet, or a door you can't go through, or something, or like a shrine that you don't know what it's for, or But I haven't seen any of that. There's no obvious bit that's missing,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it would be incredible if you download the DLC and they don't actually reveal the location of the DLC, and it's like this old rumors or stories you heard in Grand Theft Auto, where if you went to a certain hill, you heard Bigfoot's cry, and people were like, oh, I swear to God, there's a UFO that goes over the hill at certain points. If maybe you go to a certain forest and certain conditions, I don't know, maybe there's a white rabbit that takes you down a hole and there's suddenly like a whole massive underground stuff.
There's a game that you might like, if you like that sort of stuff, Matt, called Dark Souls. Might be right up your street. Yeah.
So I thought you were going to say Minecraft, but...
No, not Minecraft. That's
you haven't bought that, Sean, this week. For some reason, I thought you would have bought that.
I was weighing it up, and I still am. I don't know. Purely because, like, the way the online stuff works is, I believe it's the same as the console versions in that you can't just, like, have a persistent world that people can just dip in and out of. Like, the one person has to be the host, and then other people have to join them. Yeah, which is a bit. I mean, like I say, that is just in line with the other console versions. So I'm not having a go, but that does sort of remove like my favourite thing about Minecraft.
Logging in the morning and seeing what people have done overnight. That was
just being able to dip in and out. The
idea of creating a computer game show server and everyone just like getting involved would be hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Except it'd be full of arseholes trashing it. Yeah.
Community.
Forget
plus
that.
It's £20, which is the most expensive version of Minecraft ever. So
yeah,
they know they can get away with
like
it.
£4 for it, Matt.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was fuck all. Yeah, because I paid very little because we all got it in essentially early access.
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah. Literally when it came out, it was crazy.
I think the PC version's now like 17, 18 quid, something like that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Was that everything?
Mario Kart. I was going to mention
Mario Kart. Yeah.
I played Mario Kart. I obviously I don't bring my Switch into work every day because I just don't anymore. But
he's not a nerd.
Yeah, but Mario Kart. We've tried to play Mario Kart at lunch, and me and two other guys we can literally be like shoulder to shoulder, and sometimes it won't connect or it won't find a room. And it's just, it's pretty infuriating.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, like we're just literally in a studio together. We've got our Switches next to each other. It's really annoying. I don't know what it could be. I mean, maybe it's interference, a la the left Joy-Con or whatever. But there's no reason why it shouldn't just connect us together to find a room. Like, or maybe like, so there's three of us. Maybe I'll create a room and one of them can't see it, but the other one can. And then eventually we will get into it. Or maybe we all have to exit the room and then the other one creates it and we find that one. And we could be in the middle of a race and suddenly one person gets kicked out. I mean, yeah, it's really, really frustrating.
That's that's really sad to hear. Actually,
it sucks.
Because
I mean, online, yes, I understand, outages and this, that, and the other, but like not when you're literally playing, 3-player local. You would think that'd be rock solid.
What? How do you know how it connects? Is it through Wi-Fi or is it through Bluetooth?
They just connect to each other, so it's like it's obviously you don't need. I don't think you need Wi-Fi.
No, but Wi-Fi can be direct. It could be direct Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is
it's that, yeah.
It's direct Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure? Or are you guessing?
I'm fairly sure, but let me check. But either way, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that bad.
No. Of course it shouldn't. I mean, that's really sad to hear because one of the things that I like the sound of is once Switches are more commonplace and loads of people have got them to be able to just, connect them together. And it's not like they've had problems in this department before. I mean, I don't know if you've played 3DS games locally, but I've played that quite a bit, and it's always been completely faultless. It's been totally fine connecting the consoles together. So, and even in many times when I've played 3DS local, people have been downloading games off me, because there was that option to play games locally off a single cart. So it's sad to hear that maybe the Switch hasn't got the same sort of ability to do that, especially when it was such a big part of their advertising campaign. I wonder if it's just the game or if it's the system itself.
Yeah, annoying.
We don't
it just
know
says,
enough, do we?
It just says local wireless. It doesn't say. I have to find out. But yeah, annoying. It shouldn't be happening, but it is. It sort of takes a shine off it.
Still playing that game very, very regularly.
Yeah,
almost every day at this point. I'm getting barked at to put on Mario Kart 8. It's been a lot of fun. I ain't complaining, put it that way. Cool, Sean, what have you been playing?
On top of Space Plan, I've been playing a bit of Blockhood, which is on Steam. I think it's PC only, so half of you turn off now. It's just come out of early access, and it's still maybe not 100% finished, if you ask me. But
what is it?
So basically, it is I want to say SimCity meets Minecraft, but that doesn't really seem fair. Basically, yeah, you've got a world made entirely of blocks, and they can be, they can just be like grass, or they can be a field with flowers in, or they can be trees, or they can be a phone shop or an apartment or a neon sign or whatever. And it's basically you're just building these like little environments and just sort of playing this constant this sort of balancing game. Like everything you create will, it'll have an input and an output. So, an apartment will require electricity and water, but it allows you to have more residents. Or, a clothing factory will require cotton, and it will output clothes, which then are a required input for a clothes shop, which will input clothes and output money. And there's just this unbelievably massive list of all these different resources that are constantly sort of coming in and out of each. I think once you start playing it in free mode, you have a set of different levels that you sort of manage separately. But at the moment, I've just played through the campaign, which is basically a very long tutorial. But it's really beautifully done. It starts out, you've got this little environment, and there's this kid. He's building himself a little tree house, and he's playing, and he finds this talking pig. And and the talking pig really likes acorns, and it's teaching you right, here's how you go about getting an oak tree, or here's how you figure out what a certain character wants, what their needs are, and then how you go about fulfilling them. And then it's basically the missions sort of progress. It's about this kid growing up and getting a job at this construction firm, who then completely fuck up this area that he grew up in and was this really nice sort of natural environment, and he puts way too many buildings in, and then that all collapses, and the pig finds some other pigs and fucks off, and then you get a mission.
What are you going to say then? Go on.
And yeah, and then there's a level where it's look, here's how. So you've learned everything you need to do to please people, although you overdo it and it all goes to shit. And then you do a level where it's right, here's the pigs doing their own thing, and here's how you encourage more wildlife and biodiversity and stuff. And then the final level brings it all together. It's right, you've learned one half of it, you've learned the other. Now get them all to coexist in one thing, and it's all just. As well as teaching the principles of the game really nicely, it's just stitched together with this really nice story about this guy and this pig that he met, this talking pig. And it's proper nice. I've just finished those, and now I can just go on to free mode and do whatever. And I'm properly looking forward to just doing that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now on the website. It looks lovely, but how much does it try and club you over the head with the whole industrialization and ecological consciousness?
Not a huge amount.
Was it made by students? with a
probably
blinkered view on the world.
No, like it. Like I say, it's more sort of portrayed through this relationship between this guy and this pig, and it's not like, yeah, that came out wrong. It's
David Cameron, the video game.
Like, yeah, it's just about, like, it's not saying that, you know, consumerism is bad or anything. It's just like, look at all these resources you've got and just manage it, just balance it out. Like, it's okay to produce a bit of CO2 because your plants love it, and, you know, and it all sort of works out. It's just about managing everyone's needs. And I dare say it will get to a point where it's just really stressful. But I don't know. So what I've played so far, I really like. But like I say, the campaign is basically just a very long tutorial. So
it looks lovely,
and I enjoyed that. But
where
it looks proper nice.
Where does the SimCity comparison come into it then?
Just because it, like I say, it becomes about, like, you'll build like a sort of a big residential bit, and then it's like, right, what do these people want? Oh, they need jobs,
right?
Or they
okay.
need, you know, they want a recreational space or whatever, and it's about sort of growing your population whilst not fucking the environment over and stuff. And yeah, it's cool. I really like it. The soundtrack's beautiful as well, which helps. Yeah,
is it
it's
top
like
down
£5? It's sort of, it's like it's isometric by default, but you can pan in and zoom around and rotate, and like it is fully 3D. It's just sort of contained with, like, it's all blocks, like it's block based. So there's quite a sort of a rigid template that you're sort of adhering to, which sort of works with, you know, the visual style of it. Like, have a look. It just looks really nice.
It does sound like it's got something there that might be interesting. I assume it's PC only.
It is, and you can't even play it with a pad, so
that's not looking good.
I'm not going to spend as much time with it as it probably deserves in the long run. Just because I'm a controller boy, can't be arsed with mouse and keyboard these days.
There's no Mac version, I assume.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Well, that's that then. Sorry, ain't getting that. Not interested. That's a shame. Oh well. Any other questions, Matt, or are we moving on?
No, that's it.
To the main one. Right, I only got one game to talk about because, I mean, you've heard me talk about Zelda for far too long. I'm continuing my playthrough of Tales of the Borderlands, and my word, does that game get good when it starts fucking around with time and stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like a game where they were trying some stuff out to see if it worked, and the majority of the things they're trying out works. I really like what it's doing with storytelling. It's really interesting. So the idea is that you start off and you are telling a story to someone who's captured you, and you get dragged somewhere and you meet someone who has also been captured, who has also experienced this story with you, and who goes on to point out the lies that you told this person as you were being dragged along in a desert. And so it goes back to where you first started and plays through that same bit again, but from her perspective. And there's slight discrepancies in the story, and there's bits where you can die, but the way you die is your character tailing off, telling this story or embellishing this story, and it gets pointed. I mean, it's been done in games before, but not this well. You know, we've had that bit in games before where a character dies during a flashback, and someone goes, "That's not what happened. Tell us what really happened." And it's like, okay, I see you're trying to be clever, but this one actually feels like it's being clever because it feels like actually this character would embellish this part of the story and just tail off and talk bollocks and stuff. There were some really good moments in it. Really, there were bits that I feel were trying to. I mean, we don't have to worry about spoilers too much. I know this has just come out on PS Plus, but I'm only really talking about the first couple of episodes. But the bit in the bar where you're trying to convince the guy to sell this item that you've got, I had a feeling that I was supposed to be more stressed out during that bit, but I'm not as emotionally connected to the characters just yet. So for me, it was just like pick anything and see what happens. But I see what I
did like the fact that you get she gives you the story that you're supposed to get. Right, you need to remember this, and this, and you're like, yeah, all right, it's a game. I'll whatever. Yeah, and you do actually have to remember.
I totally did that. Yeah, I totally did that. Yeah, it's got a lot of those moments, isn't it? Where the other thing they really do well with time is when they're planning stuff out, and someone's describing the plan, and you act out the plan as they're describing it, and then it goes back to. But it's done in such a smart way, quick cuts. You're still playing it, you're still doing these QTEs and stuff along with it, but then cuts back to the person describing the plan, which is obviously, it feels like time's moved forward, but it hasn't. It's just how they're talking about the plan and stuff, and that gets a lot of laughs. You know what I mean? They use that to good effect. It doesn't feel cheap. You always know what's going to happen in the back of your mind, but when it does happen, it still manages to get a laugh out of you. And yeah, I mean, I'm surprised by how into it I am, considering that I don't know Borderlands at all. And there's still big parts of the world that I don't understand, and the relationships that I don't understand, and nods and jokes that I don't know. Like, there was a bit where you're walking down an alleyway and you see what I assume is a loot box that you're used to seeing in the Borderlands games, and you open it up and it's empty, and she sort of rolls her eyes and says, "Oh, that figures." And I thought that was probably funny if you played a lot of Borderlands, but I haven't, so it kind of felt a bit flat. But you can't hate on a game for trying to appeal to its audience. So I just you let that go. Also, I really liked the bouncer character. I thought he was brilliant. So far, I mean, I think I'm going to play it through, which is surprising because I'd started and felt nothing for it. But it really does come into its own when it starts trying new things. And for the most part, everything that it's tried seems to have worked. I'm not 100% sure on this money aspect. There's a system where you can collect money, and bits where you can buy stuff with the money, and I'm not really interested in any of that, and I hope that's not like something that I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on.
Well, the thing that confused me is there's stuff you can buy quite early on that I have no idea how you're even supposed to be able to afford it.
Yeah, well, like the masks.
Yeah,
and
I'm
trying to bribe your way into the
cosmetic
bar and
anyway. Yeah. I don't think any of it affects gameplay, really, like the items you can buy and stuff.
Yeah, Sean, when you're walking up to the bar, if you remember back, when you're walking up to the bar for the first time, and suddenly a car crashes, there's an option to walk over to the car. Did you?
I can't remember.
I just walked past it and went straight in, and now I'm interested to know what I've missed there. It was just, kind of thought, because I was in the situation, I just thought, none of my business. There's all sorts of crazy shit going on. Just stay back, basically.
So just play this, mate. You want to play the rest of the Borderlands games to understand the world a bit more and the characters?
No, as I understand it, I mean, I've always wanted to play Borderlands 2 for some reason, and I know that was I think it was an Xbox Games with Gold game a couple of months back, and I didn't bother downloading it, so maybe not. Shit, I just remembered Geometry Wars 2 is now backwards compatible. I need to get on that. Sorry, it's the way my brain works sometimes. Yeah, I will never get round to playing those games. I'm pretty sure I've passed it now, but I understand I should have. They're meant to be really good.
Yeah, I'd love to know how like those games compare to, say, playing Destiny now. Like, now we play a lot of Destiny. Would those games just be terrible to play? Have you played any Borderlands games since playing Destiny, Sean?
I haven't, no, and because I know James was asking about this last week, and I'm tempted to load up Borderlands 2 again and just see, because it it could be one of those where it's this is fucking great, or it might just instantly be horrible. I don't know.
Didn't people prefer the first one over the second one?
Did they? I don't think so.
I can't remember. I know there's some weird stuff about there was a certain character and she was racist or something. There was some questionable content in the second one, but
Tiny Tina or whatever she's called, because she sort of uses phrases like badonkadonk, even though she's
I've
white.
never even heard of.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was weird. Like, basically, yeah, the argument was that it was sort of cultural appropriation. But I'm very ignorant of these things, and I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Not saying there isn't a problem, though. I'm not the one who's qualified.
You're very white, Sean. Don't worry, you're aware of it. We all know you're aware of it. We're all good.
Yeah. Medically and culturally, the whitest man alive.
Medically.
Speaking of Destiny,
have we ever spoken about that, Sean? We must have, right?
Not on the show, I don't think.
The fact that you've got what is it? What's it described as?
It's called vitiligo. It's an autoimmune disorder, so that my immune system thinks that any colouring, any pigment in my skin is a disease and needs to be killed.
Right. And I had to text Sean one day because on an episode of The Undateables, one of The Undateables, the only thing he had going on was that. That's what made him undateable.
I'm relatively lucky, right? Because I got it when I was like 3, so it only took a couple of years, and I was just completely pale. Whereas, like, some people get it when they're adults, and like some people of color get it when they're adults as well. So, like, literally,
it's not to be laughed
This
at.
is allegedly why Michael Jackson started bleaching himself, because he started getting it. So obviously, if you are black and suddenly you're just getting all these white patches of skin, it can look really bad. But I've just always been unbelievably pale. So
yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't even consider you as a pale man.
See what happens when I spend more than half an hour in direct sunlight. It's not good.
No thanks.
He uses a lot of fake tan. He loves it. He loves the spray on tan, does our Sean.
Yeah, you were brown as anything when you came up to mine. So speaking of Destiny,
because he looked in the fridge for too long. The light bulbs just
shut that now. Destiny reveal gameplay. Yeah, it's happening this Thursday. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, tomorrow, I think it's 5 p.m. UK time.
You're finally getting what you want. Matt,
well, maybe it might be another CG trailer.
Hopefully it is.
They have said it's gameplay, right?
They have, yeah.
How do you show that though? Jesus Christ! Is it just going to be one guy just going, "Oh, you got to get these coins, which gets you these emblems," and then you trade 9 of these emblems in? That's the gameplay to Destiny. Right, okay, that's it. That's what we've been playing. Should we get onto some questions and then get out of here?
Yes, emails. If you want to email us, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. First one comes from Johnny5 from Rollmark. Have any of you guys had Joy-Con connection issues with your Switch and sent them in for repair? Both mine failed to connect when moved over a meter away from the dock. I sent them both off to Nintendo, and Parcel Force managed to lose them. That was a couple of weeks ago now, and they still haven't turned up. So if you had any spares, could we send them to him?
Parcel farce, more like.
Yeah, good on.
They felt that their shares are fucked.
I mean, the only Joy-Con issue I had was if I held it behind my back, it wouldn't work. But apart from that, it was fine.
I've never tried that. I've not had any issues though, and because it suits my narrative, it's fine. There are no Joy-Con issues.
I have had a few issues. Yeah, like the blue one, the left one. Sometimes the arm of my sofa gets in the way of it, and you can tell that it's fucking up. And if I put my hands in my lap to play, sometimes like my legs are cutting the connection off a little bit. It never loses connection totally, but it'll be that thing where it thinks you're still holding left when you're not, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I am going to send mine back eventually, but I can't do that at the moment because we're playing so much of the Switch. I need to wait for a bit of a lull in playing it and then send it off. But hopefully, I mean, I'm planning on getting a Pro controller by the end of the year. So hopefully, I'll just get that, and then I'll be okay to send off one of the Joy-Cons. It's frustrating, man. But it's not game breaking for me at the moment. At the moment, I'm just either lifting my arms up a little bit higher or just moving closer to the console itself. It's certainly not been as bad as
you could just move your couch every time you want to play games.
No, because then I'd be Matt Murray, who has to rearrange his furniture every time someone comes over. It's just a TV for me. It takes 2 seconds. Yep. No, sorry, can't relate to that. We haven't got any spares, so sorry, Johnny. Next question.
Adam from Stoke-on-Trent. Evening
back.
Cock Munchers. Question for the week. Remakes are 10 a penny today, but sometimes an awesome one comes along. If you could choose one game for a remake to come in current gen in time for Christmas this year, what would you go with? Etc. etc.
Sean?
Is this a joke?
Sean?
Is this...
Have you got an answer?
If I could get a modern version of popular computer game Skate 3, that would be
That's interesting.
very good.
Next question.
Capone Adam is back. Is 2017 finally the year to reveal a new James Bond game?
What's going on with James Bond at the moment? Is there one coming out? There's not been one for a while, is there?
There will be.
No.
Is Daniel Craig even the next Bond? I
was thinking that.
Because he said he was
confirmed,
sick to
have they?
death of it, didn't he? But I can't remember if he actually had one more film left in it.
I hope that's a quote. I'm sick to death of this.
He was quite blasé about it. He was saying like it will basically check over your life. Yeah, Adam. Yes, it is definitely the year. The year where there's no James Bond film is definitely the year we want a James Bond game.
I mean, that's the way, isn't it? It can't be tied to a film because, I mean, Lord knows James Bond is the only franchise where they've got away with that once. And
asking for it for a second time.
You know,
there was another one as well,
like-
wasn't there? There was another good one tied to a film.
was there?
I think so, or was that not?
Wasn't there one made by Criterion that had like good racing sections?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't remember.
Tomorrow Never Dies? That's a really old one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Probably
that's
not,
Pierce
I don't
Brosnan
know.
one, I think.
Do you remember the James Bond game on the N64, GoldenEye?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It was good. It was a good game.
No. If
David Baptiste. You
Question.
can do it in FIFA and Destiny, but what other game would benefit from having a dabbing animation to celebrate a victory?
Now, you could do it in Mario Kart, apparently.
No.
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, Donkey Kong does it, doesn't
I'm
it?
not
This
sure
is
in
why
its
we-
official dab. Now,
Yeah.
we need a young person to confirm this. None of us are young.
But
We're all
he
getting on a
does
bit.
the shape. What's
Well, he
what
doesn't,
do you
because
need
he
to know?
doesn't. He doesn't look into the crease of his elbow. He looks over to the left.
Yeah, but but he's still got his arm like beneath his chin,
Yeah,
sort
but-
of looking at it.
Is he dabbing or is he doing an Usain Bolt?
What exactly?
Well,
What I'm
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
Matt, is that you are not qualified to answer this question.
I
You're
don't care for dabs.
mid-30s now. It's the,
34,
you
baby.
can't answer. Is there anyone under the age of, let's say, 18 that can confirm or deny whether Donkey Kong is officially doing a dab or not in Mario Kart 8?
I mean, we don't need to ask.
I mean, it's not
know
going to
he
make
is,
for
but go
great
on.
podcasting, but you might as well tweet in.
Speaking of tweets, if you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. First tweet is from Robotic Monkey. Farley not on the show this week. What could that mean?
He's ill.
Means it's poorly, yeah. Shimmy Hill. Has David ever tried to milk a giraffe? I saw a documentary the other day and Skittles came out.
Probably not. It was probably an advert for Skittles, that, mate.
Only if someone
I've
punched
seen
a
them
giraffe
fight.
and turned into Skittles.
It's common knowledge now that giraffes fighting is the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
You've all seen that video. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it back
Absolutely.
in the Joypod days. But yeah, the giraffes fighting is just the best thing you will ever see in your life. Aggressive, ridiculous, funny. It's
Sexual.
got everything. It's got everything. So yeah, if somehow you've gone through life without seeing giraffes fighting, go to popular website youtube.com, search giraffes fighting, and just sit back, popcorn.
I don't think I have, and I'm not sure I
Turn
want
your
to.
phone off. Just
What's that?
I don't think I have, and I'm not sure I want to. They're such majestic creatures. I'm not sure I want to have the
You've not
brutality
seen it,
of.
Matt?
No, I don't think I have.
How do you think they
oh
fight?
mate, you should.
How do I think they fight? Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
obvious one would be their massive long necks.
But you've got to see it. It's the best thing ever. I mean, it's horrible because at the same time, you're right. Yeah, they're the best things in the world, and I don't want them to hurt each other. But it's nature, Matt. It's fucking raw, passionate nature.
Passionate. That sounds. Did they get their necks twisted around each other?
Pretty much.
They look at one of those lollies. Yeah. Anyway, the Nick Parton.
Sorry, what?
What? But a twister.
Like a
You mean
twist? No, it doesn't
a
look like.
twister?
Well, no, it doesn't look like a twister. It looks more like a curly whirly.
Oh. Okay. Okay, the Nick Parton on Twitter.
What was that? Did I just break Matt's mind?
Yeah, I couldn't
think so.
Curly Whirly are the really long chocolate
sick.
ones, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're sort of like a broken ladder shape, aren't they?
Yeah, they like a fucked up ladder, yeah.
Yeah, you really fucked that up. Nick Parton.
Did
James
I?
Farley origin stories.
No, hold on. No,
because
Curly Whirlies are like two long, strangly bits of chocolate wrapped around each other.
Well, they're not wrapped around each other, though, are they? There's like the Curly Whirly. There's like two. It's like say it's like a ladder. So
Yeah,
you've
it's like
got
a broken
two sort
ladder.
of poles either side, and then stringy bits between them.
Shit, man, I did fuck that up. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, you
you're
totally
right.
ruined that.
Curly Whirly.
Curly. Are we going to Google that? No, we're not.
Well, they're not that. I mean, now that I think about it, Curly Whirly is a deeply inappropriate name for it because they're not curly or whirly.
Fuck, they're totally different in my head.
What did you think they were like Twisters?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
better.
the name would imply that much, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, they're not Curly Whirly at all. They're just Holy Woly.
Yeah.
Look at them now. They are
okay.
they're Holy Wolies.
Holy well.
I mean,
Okay,
we need to have a word.
we have descended into shit banter cast now, which are dead.
this is
No
no
wonder they're
resistance level pattern, mate.
It's a bad one. Go on, next question.
No wonder they're a dying breed. Nick
Who'd have thought
Parton,
James Farley would be so essential to the show?
I know. How is he keeping us on track? Speaking of which, the Nick Parton wants to know, how did each of us meet James Farley?
Oh, this is an interesting one. Well, I'll tell my story first because I met him first. So I met James Farley on Xbox Live. It was one of I started on Xbox Live very, very early, just when you could play the free demos. Well, no, I think I joined just
MotoGP,
after
wasn't it?
Unreal Tournament come out. Unreal Championship, I think it was.
Yeah.
So there was that, MotoGP and Ghost Recon, Jesus. And there was a few people from Rollmuck that used to play. It was me, Slady, JCA Farley, Johnny Five from Rollmuck that we chatted about. He used to play. And we decided to meet up at Slady's place. And Slady was, nicest bloke you'll ever meet, but had some weird tendencies. And one of them was, I was with Slady. I'd met him before, I think. And I was round his place, and James Farley was coming to meet us. And he said, I'm in a cab. Can you stand at the end of your, can you stand in the road so I know where the cab needs to stop? So we stood in the road, we saw the cab coming, and just as I waved for Farley's cab to pull over, Slady ran off. He just ran, he pelted it down the road for literally no reason. James Farley got out of the cab and just went, "You Elmo?" I said, "Yeah, you're right, you James?" He goes, "Yeah." "Was that Slady?" "Yeah, I've got no idea where, I'm in Birmingham, I don't live here, I don't know what's going to happen now." And he just ran off. I think he just got a bit nervous.
Obviously, we shouldn't laugh because, obviously, he's probably had a fucking panic attack. But still, that's a hell of a situation to be in.
It was a weird introduction. It was a weird way to meet someone. For the
I love the idea that, James Farley's that intimidating.
Yeah, he's really not. Matt, when was your first meeting with the Farlong?
Well, I obviously knew him from Rollmuck, and then you guys were all playing 360. And then when I eventually did get a 360, I sort of joined you guys playing Left 4 Dead and all the other stuff. And then I think you guys came to Leeds, didn't you, one time? And
yeah, I remember coming to Leeds. I don't remember taking him up. I don't remember how it got to the point where it was. I don't remember how it got to the point where we were like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming up to Leeds, Matt," because we knew each other, quite well. I can't remember just going, "Oh yeah, I'm going to bring James Farley." That would be weird. So there must have been
it was that same weekend when Capone came up. So it's just
yeah, everyone's invited type thing. Yeah, yeah. How about you, Sean? What was the first time at my wedding?
I'm trying to think. No, there was an EGX prior to that, wasn't there?
Was there?
I don't think I'd podcasted with him. Yeah, I definitely already met him by the time your wedding came around.
Because you must have been at the EGX that I didn't go to, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And yeah, Farley was there, and it was, but Michael was still around, so Farley didn't get the piss taken out of him so much then.
Oh, he did, but we did. This is one thing people don't understand. James and I have had this relationship for, well, we're over 15 years now, or coming up to 15 years. We have been at each other's throats for as long as I've known the man, and I think we both enjoy it. So chill out, eh? Calm down with all the messages about, oh, you're being too harsh on Farley. You don't know the half of it.
I mean, I remember always feeling bad because when I first started doing Joypod, it was campfire. Like, so I'd started doing the show with you, but like I wasn't massively aware of like Joypod's history. And then I think it was Campfire Burning like tweeted some comment about like, oh yeah, Sean's the new James Farley, and I was like, who's that? Obviously not realising that Farley had been like a massive part of the show.
Oh shit, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So what had happened on Joypod was that James Farley was slowly becoming the third person on Joypod. Like, he was on the Play radio shows, and he was getting more and more involved with the show, and we kind of had come to the agreement that he was going to be the third person, and then he moved to China, and that option had fallen apart. But the thing was, we kind of got used to there being a third person on the show, and we decided that, maybe we should look for a sort of a third chair. And then, like, by the time James had come back, it was like, oh, James, you're back in town. Your job's gone. Sean was just sitting there, none the wiser.
Yeah. Totally ignorant.
Is my job here? Am I on the podcast? No, James.
But the other thing that's weird was when we did the PSVR weekend, did Farley think we hadn't met? Because I remember hadn't he said something about like, oh, like it was going to be weird, like us all hanging out together?
No,
I suppose like all four of us had never actually happened.
No, yeah, I think that's what he was talking about. The fact that we'd never, the four of us had never hung out before. Like,
I wonder if maybe he just forgot meeting me.
No, I'm pretty sure. No, James is good with stuff like that. He knows, that's something that I would do. The amount of times that I've spoken to people and just gone, oh, you're all right? Yeah, nice to meet you. And they're like, yeah, good to see you again. And I'm like,
yesterday.
Whoops. Yeah, I'm not that good with that.
Yeah, women at EGX, obviously that's mostly weekend of drinking plus gaming. So every year it's like, oh, you're that guy, and it's like, yeah, I literally had a massive 2-hour conversation with you last year. Oh yeah, okay, well, great to meet you for the first time.
Do you remember Tom from the Noob Review?
Yeah,
he once told me about how he got engaged and stuff, and I sent him this, congratulations, man, really happy for you, blah, 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 blah. And he said, Dave, I've told you. I got engaged. I can't believe you've forgotten. I was like, but yeah, I know that.
Just congrats again, in a way. It's
not as bad as the time that I forgot your grandma had passed away and I asked how she was doing.
Yeah,
absolute
that was a
banter.
bad one. I mean, don't get me wrong.
That was a bad one.
That was just fucking funny. It's just the way.
It's just the way you went. Yep, still dead.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Luke, friend of Bears, what game have you been most excited about, only to end up not actually finishing the game? Well, Luke, every single game for me.
I was going to say, how long have you got? There's definitely loads. This is like absolutely part of the problem is that off the top of my head, I can't even think what they were.
Mafia 3 is one that sticks out for me. I was well pumped for that game, and I enjoyed what I played of it, but it wasn't what I wanted. It went a little bit too much, let's do some open world stuff, and that's what... Mafia 2 was an open world game that didn't do open world stuff. It was a very linear, very go here, do this, go here, do this. That's what that game was all about. And this one tried to do some open world stuff, and that was the crappiest part of the game. And I was kind of like, if it's going to ask me to go to another fucking hideout and clear it out, and then that becomes part of my territory again, then I think I'm going to tap out. And I think the idea was give it a break and come back to it. But I gave it a break and didn't go back to it. And it's still sitting in my drawer at the moment.
I think the biggest one for me has got to be The Last Guardian.
You never finished it?
Oh, you've got to get that done, Sean.
Nope.
Oh my god!
I don't know if I can be asked. It's the same thing. I was like, do you know what? I think I just maybe need some time away from it, and that was like 3 months ago.
The ending was so good. I mean, yeah, that is your ultimate answer there, definitely. But the ending is so good. It's just I do not blame you. Like I even said that. I remember when I wrote my review, I was like, I want people to experience this ending, because the ending's incredible. But at the same time, I cannot blame anyone that chucks the towel in because it's a frustrating mess. And if James was here, he'd be going, "Oh, it was fine. What are you talking about?" He's never been so wrong about a game in his life, apart from that font game.
Well, speaking of that font game, Luke Friend of Bears is back. I thought that typewriter sounded alright. What do you actually think of it now James isn't here to wind up? Well, we're going to save that for next week, definitely. Have you played it yet,
actually
David?
Pretty good. Just want to wind him up. I mean, it was crap. Next question.
Luke, Friend of Bears at Busker Lily. Matt seemed to know a lot about a man shagging a dog last week. Is he a secret UKIP supporter? And which gaming animal would you most like to give one to? Sorry, is that a thing that UKIP supporters are bumming dogs left, right, and centre? Or have I?
There was that one guy, wasn't there, on Twitter who was arguing that because, like, basically shagging an animal is no worse than eating it.
Oh God,
what?
So it's like, well, if we eat meat, then because it was like, well, why can't you shag animals? And it was like, well, because animals can't give consent. Well, they can't give consent to being slaughtered and eaten, and you do that.
He's got a point.
He's got you
there. He's got a point,
Sean.
actually. Get Nigel Farage in is my train of thought now. Just fucking get the fuck out of the EU. What the fuck is that about? It's almost as if these people don't think.
This is why I unfollowed everyone. That sort of shit.
Okay, cool. Next question.
Which game animal would you guys like to give one to? We're not gonna. Okay, Luke.
We've sort of done that, haven't we? Didn't we have a discussion about
Have
what?
we?
Oh shit! Was this on Big Bother? It was on Big Bother.
Well, no, because didn't you say yes? It was. Didn't you say like flamingo or something?
No, I said dolphin.
Oh, I think I said. Oh,
you said cat.
Let's not get involved in this. This is silly.
You said cat, and
it wasn't gaming animal. It's just like which animal would you bang if you had to?
Yeah, and I said dolphin. You said cat, and what was it? Capone Adam said spider.
Yeah.
So,
Luke,
how does that?
I mean, you got to listen to the show for the full amount of banter.
I mean, it was hilarious.
No, I don't think I do. I think I'm all right. I think I've got everything I need.
Luke Friend of Bears is back. What ways have you seen other people play games that you can't even imagine doing?
Chet Roivas spent best part of a month trying to convince us to all buy plastic wheels for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch. Wheels. and then constantly complains that I beat him on Mario Kart because he's using them wheels. And then when we were playing it the other night, I haven't told you this, Matt. He was playing it with his missus against me and John, and he said they're not even using the motion controls, but they're still using the Joy-Cons in them wheels.
Oh my God.
I know, they're just using the wheels to hold the Joy-Con. I don't know. I can't imagine ever doing that. There you go. Perfect answer to a question.
Athena Allen, what do you dislike most?
No one else want to answer that? Are you just leaving it to me? Am I carrying you guys through this now? It's time to move on. Okay, go on.
Athena Allen, what do you dislike most about James's contribution to the show?
What do I dislike? He's farting. That was bad. I don't know. I don't dislike. I think if this episode proves one thing, it's that James is essential. Yeah, he's good at what he does.
He is the show.
Fucking moaning.
We're going to end with.
I could just do without his constant sexist tirades.
Good point. But we cut them out, Sean, so people wouldn't.
No one
That's
knew
true.
about that.
Yeah.
Oops. We're going to end with CS87, Chris Brown, of course. Hi, Matt.
Oh, that's surprising to get a message from him. I assume it's a complaint about the format. Go on.
I don't know why. Why would he be listening to the dead format?
He's actually messaged me saying he hopes this question doesn't come across too snarky. I think it might be too late for that, don't you?
I think if anything was coming across snarky from you this week, Chris, it might have been the last half an hour of Midnight Resistance. See,
well, steady on, David. Maybe the whole show.
Did he accidentally send this to us when he meant to send it to Kane and Rince, which he loves so much?
Yeah, all Retro Asylum, they're good. I mean... Anyway.
Now that sounded very mean.
Look, I don't give a fuck anymore, Sean. That's why I've unfollowed everyone and followed the right people back.
God,
you can all fuck off. Hi, Matt! Exclamation mark. You keep talking about this E3 potentially being the greatest E3 of all time, but I don't really know why. Can you elaborate? Well, yeah, it's a trifecta of goodness, Chris. New Microsoft console. You know, who knows what's going to happen there. We've been over this. It's Nintendo's first E3 since the Switch came out, and I actually think that Sony will tease PlayStation 5. That's just me.
What?
Yeah, I reckon.
It would make sense
for next year, but we haven't got into predictions. That's not relevant, of course.
The prediction show's a different show, yeah. But I'd be surprised.
New Microsoft console, Switch, Switch stuff. Hopefully they're going to show off some big guns, but who knows?
The PS4 Pro come out at the end of last year, though.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised.
True.
If it's going to come out next year, I wouldn't be surprised if they tease it, but then no, that's a prediction. I just reckon it's going to be a banging E3. I hope so. I'm excited to see what developers could be doing with PS4 Pro. I'm obviously clearly very excited to see what they do with Scorpio. I'm hoping for a second wave of PSVR titles. So it's got all the, and also I'm interested to see what they change because it's now got the public involved and see what they do. Obviously, we already know there's that Jeff Keighley thing. There's that E3 Live or whatever it's called. And there's those panels. Yeah, I'm just interested to see what it's going to be like, but mostly Scorpio, isn't it?
I know. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be. It has the potential to be a banger. I mean, for starters, Nintendo and Switch, it's sold well, which is a good sign. They've booked the whole hour for Switch chat, which is a good sign. I mean, they've always let me down, but I'm hoping that this time that's not going to happen. Yeah, Microsoft, I'm fascinated to see what their move is. I mean, we all know that the next, the Scorpio is going to be really powerful, but we want to see games on it. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see what they show off. And Sony, I literally don't know what their next move's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a new PlayStation. I think that would piss people off too much. But I do think we're going to go and see some interesting exclusives coming to PS4. They're still the market leader at the moment of the current gen, and they haven't got too many exclusives in the pipeline. We don't know what they're bringing out at the end of the year that's going to be exclusive to PS4. Are they going to have something to sort of just slam down on the table and go, boom, that's why we're number one at the moment. So, yeah. I mean, every E3, every build-up to E3, I always get pumped and I always think it's going to be a banger. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But I think every E3's got the potential to be...
there's a lot of potential with new consoles and whatnot this year. In terms of like PS5, I think it could be teased. Obviously, last year, Microsoft teased or / announced Scorpio. That's how this year. I mean, if it's going to come out next year, you'd like to think that maybe Sony would tease it now.
Why? How could they bring it out 2 years after the Pro, Matt?
Because the Pro is just like an S version of the console. It's like the Xbox S.
It wasn't that. It's 350 quid.
I'm going to say, a lot of people spend a lot of money on it.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be crazy, but I'm also that would be my crazy prediction for this year's E3, but we'll get on to predictions another time. That's it for tweets and questions. If you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. The podcast is on YouTube with all the other people that are really good, and they haven't bothered with podcasts, but we put our podcast on YouTube because it's a dying format and dying bantercast, but whatever, fuck a lot of you. That's it.
We'll see some of you next week. Some of you are probably dropping off. Thanks for living it. We'll catch you next week. Take care. Goodbye. Love you. Love you.
Cheers.